The recording has started.
Hare Krishna, welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. We are extremely fortunate to have Her Grace Sita Priti Mataji here with us today. And Mataji will be enlightening us by walking us through Srimad Bhagavatam 4.24.44 and followed by Navadwip Mandal parikrama after the call. So please stay tuned. Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dharmat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving us this opportunity, your valuable time and association this morning. Without further ado, I would like to hand over the call to you now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dr. Mataji, thank you so much. So today, Hare Krishna, everyone. So today we are reading from Canto 4, from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 44. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jnanamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtike. Text 44. Darshanamno vidrukshunam dehi bhagavatarchitam रूपं प्रियात्मां स्वानं स्वानिन्द्रिया गुणार्जनम. Synonyms: darshanam, vision; na, our; didrukshanam, desire to see; dehi, kindly exhibit; bhagavata, of the devotees; architam, as worshipped by them; rupam, form; priyatamam, dearmost; swanam, swanam, of your devotees; sarva indriya, all the senses; guna, qualities; anjana, very much pleasing. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. My dear Lord, I wish to see you exactly in the form that your very devotees worship. You have many other forms, but I wish to see your form that is especially liked by the devotees. Please be merciful upon me and show me that form, for only that form worshipped by the devotees can perfectly satisfy all the demands of the senses. Purport. In the Shruti or Veda mantra, it is said that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Sarva Kamaha, Sarva Gandhaha, Sarva Rasaha, or in other words, he is known as Raso Vaishyaha, the source of all relishable relationships, Rasa. We have various senses, the powers of seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, etc. And all the propensities of our senses can be satisfied when these senses are engaged in the service of the Lord. Rishikeshena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Bhakti means engaging all the senses in the service of the master of the senses. Rishikesha. Narad Pancharatra. These material senses, however, cannot be engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, one has to become free from all designations. Sarvopadi vinimuktam tat parivartane nirmalam. One has to become free from all designations of false egotism, and thus become purified. When we engage our senses in the service of the Lord, the desires or the inclinations of the senses can be perfectly fulfilled. Lord Shiva therefore wants to see the Lord in a form which is inconceivable to the Buddha philosophers or the Buddhist. The impersonalist and the voidist also have to see the form of the Absolute. In Buddhist temples, there are forms of Lord Buddha in meditation, but these are not worshipped like the forms of Lord in Vaishnava temples, forms like Radha Krishna, Sita Ram, or Lakshmi Narayan. Amongst the different sampradayas, Vishnu sects, Either Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan is worshipped. Lord Shiva wants to see that form perfectly, just as the devotee wants to see it. The words Rupam Paryaptam Swanam are especially mentioned here, indicating that Lord Shiva wants to see that form which is very dear to the devotees. The word Swanam is especially significant because only the devotees are very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Gyanis, Yogis, and Karmis are not particularly dear for the dear. For the Karmis, simply want to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their order supplier. The Gyanis want to see him to become one with him, and the Yogis want to see him partly represent within their hearts as Paramatma. But the Bhaktas or the devotees want to see him in his complete perfection, as stated in the Brahma Samhita 5.30. वेणुं क्वनन्तरविन्ददलायताक्षं बर्हावतासमसतिबन्धुसुन्दराङ्गं कन्दर्पकोटिकमनीयविशेषशोभं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is apt in playing on his flute, whose eyes are blooming like lotus petals, whose head is bedecked with peacock feathers, whose beauty is tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and whose unique loveliness charms millions of cupids. Thus, Lord Shiva's desire is to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is described in this way. That is, he wants to see him as he appears to the Bhagavatas, the devotees. The conclusion is that Lord Shiva wants to see him in complete perfection and not in the impersonalist or the voidist way. Although the Lord is one in his various forms, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anand, Anadi, still his form as the young enjoyer of the gopis and companion of the cowherd boys, Kishore Murti, is the most perfect form. Thus, Vaishnavas accept the form of the Lord in his Vrindavan pastimes as the chief form. ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथामृतं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते. तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामीति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna everyone. So we'll try to discuss this verse 4.24.44. So let's just read the translation again. My dear Lord, I wish to see you exactly in the form that your very devotees worship. You have many other forms, but I wish to see your form that is especially liked by the devotees. Please be merciful upon me and show me that form, for only that form worshipped by the devotees can perfectly satisfy all the demands of the senses. Now, as we have seen in this chapter, in this verses, the following verses which have we seen, that Lord Shiva is glorifying the Lord. We also saw in the earlier verses how he has glorified the Lord in all the opulences which he has, in all the characteristics which the Lord has. Now in this verse exactly when we have to find the essence of this verse is that the Lord wants to see, the Lord Shiva wants to see the Lord, but in a specific form. And also, he is not everything in this in this translation gives you a idea that how should we lead to the God, or how should we what should be the mood of a devotee when he is asking some benediction from the Lord. So over here we see, please be merciful upon me to show me that form. That means the Lord's form is not visible to each and every person as it is. If you have to see the Lord's form, the Lord has to be merciful that he will show his form. And when we say he will show his form, it is not possible for the mundane eye to see the Lord by the material vision. That means again, our normal senses which we have, as in the translation also we see that we have all our material senses, and from the material senses something spiritual cannot be perceived. That means the very first step over here is that we have to purify our senses. Now again, when we say purify our senses, we say that yes, we are chanting, we are purifying our senses, but then our senses are seeing the taste, the touch, smell, tasting, all these senses which are there, because of this material senses, we have the propensity of misusing them. And when we misuse these senses, we do not perceive things in the right sense. I was listening to one of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj class. In that, Maharaj said that what we say is that we have to give away all our desires, or we have to give away all our senses, so that all sense gratification cannot hamper in our path of bhakti. But does that mean that, he asked, like, does that mean that we have to just give away all our senses away? No, because these senses are given to us by Krishna. So the right way to use the senses is to use them in the service of the Lord. You cannot just go in a remote place or go in a forest and say, you know what, that I'm not going to use my senses to look at this material world. I'm not going to use my hearing senses to hear anything from this material world. But you cannot do that for a long time, because our senses, until they are purified, they cannot be used in the service of the Lord. I cannot go into a remote place and just sit for my japa and I say, oh, my senses are purified. How long will that happen? That cannot last for a long time. After a couple of days, like suppose just it is that you have a affection, or you have a propensity to eat in a restaurant. This is for a mundane, like those who are into that habit. So if you are into a habit of eating into a restaurant, that taste is still there in your mouth. You cannot just say, okay, I'm going to just avoid this restaurant and then it will be done. Then I will not come back to this stage again. It does not happen that way. Maybe 1 year, or maybe 1 month, 2 months, you will try to stop that sense gratification. But again, eventually, you might say, you know what, like just one time, let me just go one time and go and just have it. Nothing is going to be damaged by that. And this is the way that your senses are going to be impure. And with these impure senses, you cannot serve the Lord. So for that, like if I have that thing that, okay, I have to eat at a restaurant, I have to eat something which is not offered to the Lord. So once that thing comes, how am I going to stop that from happening? Is when I engage my sense of tasting in Krishna Prasadam. Instead of just avoiding that, I try to make the same thing at home, offer it to the Lord, and then eat it. That way, I'm not purposefully taking off my senses from that tasting. I'm still tasting, but in another way, wherein I am using my senses in the proper way by cooking for the Lord, by offering it to Him, and then having that prasadam. So these senses, when we talk about all, like in the purport also it says that in the Veda mantra it is said that the Lord is Sarva Kamaha, Sarva Gandhaha, Sarva Rasaha. That means He is known as Raso Vaishaha. He is the relishable of all relishable relationship. We have various senses like sense, seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, and these can be satisfied only because who is the master of the senses? It is Rishikesha, that means the Lord Krishna. So if he is the master of the senses, he has all the ability to take care of our senses if we are going to be engaged in the loving service of the Lord. So now Lord Shiva over here says that I want to see your this form which the devotees like. Now I have some things over here which I have to explain with the help which I can explain. Okay, so in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Adi Leela, it is also mentioned in 5.142. It is said, Ekla Ishwara Krishna, Ara Sabhabhartya, Yare Aiche Nachiya, Se Taiche Kare Nritya. That means Lord Krishna alone is the supreme controller and all others are his servants. They dance as he makes them to do. That means we understand that who is the original, it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In the Upanishads and the Puranas, all these which have been made, the essence of all these Vedas, the Upanishads, the Puranas, is that one has to render transcendental loving service to the Lord. And this transcendental loving service to the Lord is just an exchange between the Lord and his devotees. And that is the rasa between the Raso Vaishaha, which is explained that the Supreme Lord is the reservoir of all pleasure, is explained in the next verse. It says that this is the rasa which is there in between the Lord and his devotees. Now what do we see is that the devotees try to please the Lord. So the exchange, you can we have explained this, many of them have explained this, that the exchange is that the devotees are trying to serve the Lord and make him happy. But in turn, what happens is the Lord is happy because the devotee is serving him. And looking at the Lord is happy, the devotee is happy. So it is just a mutual exchange between the devotee and the Lord. And in that connection, you do not know at the end who is more happy. Is the devotee more happy that he is serving the Lord? Or is the Lord, seeing the Lord happy, the devotee is getting more happy? So once this rasa is established, then you can understand the exact essence of what a devotional service to the Lord is. And this devotional service to the Lord is explained in the again in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 19.170. It's also taken from the Narad Pancharatra. In our purport also this verse is explained. Sarvopadhi vinir muktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikeshana rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. So this is bhaktir uchyate. It is not mentioned in any other way, that any other way, whether the karma yoga or the jnana yoga or any other way. It's said that the bhakti is going to be the sarvashreshth in this, the uchyate. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of all the senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designations, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of the Lord. Again, I read this. That means, what is bhakti? It is the devotional service. That means we are just going to engage our senses in the service of the Lord. Now, when we say that we are going to engage the senses in the service of the Lord and purify them, that means it is just not going to be one thing. That means when we are going to do some loving service to the Lord is going to be pleased. Second thing, we are engaging our senses in the right way. That means when we say that, how am I going to engage my senses of seeing? Instead of watching some mundane movies, mundane things which are there in the going on around, I can watch something which is related to the Lord, or I can see devotees who are serving the Lord, and I can take inspiration from that. Instead of talking about any mundane topics or using my tongue as in service of the Lord, I can talk about some Krishna Katha, or I can talk to the devotees who are listening to some things, and we can have a discussion over that. Like I remember in our Bhakti Vriksha, we have that whatever a person has heard in a class over the week, when we are having prasadam, we try to discuss that so that nobody ends up into any mundane talks of any sort. And everybody loves that, because then that way we also see to it that we are reading something apart from what is going on in the Bhakti Vriksha. So these senses, they get purified. Why they get purified? It is only because they are getting engaged in the service of the Lord. Okay, in the service of the Lord. Okay. So, and then when we say that, why are we purifying the senses and why are we trying to do all these things? Only because so that we can please the Lord. And then when Lord Shiva is saying that please show me your form. Again, we have to again understand that these are our material senses. Remember, when we go to the temple and when we do some services, there is always the prayer where we ask forgiveness from the Lord. That means no matter we are doing service to the Lord, His service, yet our senses can be impure. When we are doing service, we might be thinking, you know what, like, oh, I'll finish my service and I'm going to go and do my this chores or those chores. That means we are not fully 100% engaged in those service. Our mind is always flickering and is always going to be moving around. And what do we expect that, oh, I'm doing so much of service and the Lord should be happy with me. But the Lord will not show Himself, the Lord will not reveal Himself unless and until our senses are purified, and also unless and until the Lord wishes to show Himself or appear Himself in front of us. We have seen the example of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma, when he started from when he was in the lotus flower, when he emerged, he wanted to see where he has come from. So he traveled all the way down from the lotus stem, and he came to the bottom, and he could not see anything. Though, like Lord Vishnu, he was lying on the bed at the bottom, but he could not see that because the Lord did not want to reveal him at that point. So he had to again go back to the lotus flower, and again, because of the voice which he was hearing of tapa, 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 then he said for meditation. That means by meditating, again he had to purify his senses, and then he could have the vision of the Lord. And we all know, right, when he had the vision of the Lord, he was so mesmerized that the Brahma Samhita was written in that flow. When he saw the Lord and his transcendental form and his most opulent form, he wrote the Brahma Samhita, explaining all the opulence of the Lord and the beauty of the Lord. So we have to understand that the God will not show Himself unless and until we purify our senses. So in this verse, why is Lord Shiva saying that I want to see the form of the Lord which the devotees like? Because the Lord is also purifying His senses. Lord Shiva is also purifying His senses by meditating on the form of the Lord. Now, when we say loving devotional service to the Lord, it just does not mean that I am going to the temple and serving the Lord. I am doing something which is serving the Lord. Devotional service can be listening, talking about the Lord, hearing about the Lord, meditating upon the Lord. And in this age of Kali, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the best benediction which we can get is about meditating on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When we just say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This mantra itself is the boon which we have in this Kali Yuga. By meditating, by having the mantra meditation done on this alone mantra is a very big service to the Lord. So, when we have these which is mentioned about so devotional service means in purifying the senses, sarva upadi vinamruptam tat parivartene nirmalam. Now what does nirmalam word means in this Chaitanya Charitamrita verse, which we have seen in our purport also? In the purport, when we see about this verse, it is verse 19.170 from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. So this nirmalam means what? Purification. Now purification from what? When we say purification, it is purification also. When we see over here, it is said purification from all the designations that we have. Now this designations which is there, that is the main cause for our suffering in this world. Because when we have some designations, we fall into the false ego. That means we we are going to think this is mine, this is I. When we do chanting also, instead of I chanted so many rounds, I did like 64 rounds. This is like it happens to me always. Like that though you're serving, then too, like in one of the classes when His Holiness Romapad Maharaj was here, he said that when you say that I am humble, we say right, we have to be humble as a blade of a grass. And when that thought comes to our mind that I am humble, I'm the most humble devotee, I'm trying to be humble, that thought of or that saying that I am humble is also a ego in itself. It was so hard for me to understand earlier, but then I am saying that what, I am so humble, I am so fallen. You are trying to again glorify yourself. That means again it is a false ego which you are having. Then when we say, oh, what, Krishna is our Lord, he is like he is in Vrindavan, he is in my India. Again, you are getting into the limitations of designating something. Krishna is not a Lord only for Indians. Krishna is not restricted to one place. He is for everyone. So we cannot categorize ourselves that I am American. In one of the classes, Srila Prabhupada said that this designation which is there, this upadhi which you give, that is the cause of the false ego which we have. And we have to get purified from that stage. What happens is, like many times when some devotees try to criticize someone, or when you hear something is not wrong, like you want to hear more about it. That way your ears are getting it's not getting purified. It is again you are getting into that false like whatever is going on around in the material world, you are trying to get more engaged into that, and the purificatory process is gone long away from you. So whenever you hear some I know I'm saying this to, I'm just talking this, but it is for my own purification that I'm talking, because these things I need to implement in myself a lot. Because when somebody talks about something, if it is a pure devotee, because we all are on the path of getting into the pure devotee. I think I'm nowhere over there as yet. But then if we are a pure devotee, this all mundane talks, if somebody is talking something about us, if somebody is talking something about somebody else, it is not advisable to hear that. You should just go away from there, or you should just, like a pure devotee or Uttam Bhakta will not even care about who is saying. And that is the way you can purify our senses. If somebody is trying to say something about somebody else, just start chanting. That person will just keep quiet, and the person will get an indication that okay, I'm no longer interested in hearing anything. This will give again a rise to the purification of our hearing senses. That means we just want to hear about the chanting of the Lord and not fall into the prey of any of these Maya. Or in the His Holiness Vitadvaj Maharaj in the Sunday class, he said, it is not that Maya is having a clutch over you. It is we are holding over to Maya. And this thought is so deep that yes, Maya is the Shakti of the Lord, right? She is working under the guidance of the Lord. That means she is doing her work perfect. Once we are bound to her, that means her work is perfect. Just like in a movie, when you see a villain and you get very angry on that villain or person who is bad, the role of that person is satisfied because his role was to have an impression that he is the most bad person in that film. Same way, Maya is doing her role, but we also have our role to do. We have to see that we are not getting connected to Maya. We are not getting fallen prey to Maya. And this can be done only when our senses are purified. And therefore, Lord Shiva is saying that with this material sense, Srila Prabhupada is explained in the purport, that with material senses we cannot see the Lord, or we cannot serve the Lord. Or if we are serving the Lord also, that is not going to go towards the Lord. We are trying for sure, but at every step we have to see that this nirmalam, that is purifying process, is going on. And so this designations which we have, that it is designations which we have to get away from this kind of designations. Any kind of upadhis which we have, that is very dangerous for our spiritual life. Because once we get trapped in those designations, then we cannot do a pure devotional service to the Lord. And then, we'll go to the next part. And then how in the next part in the purport it's mentioned that in the temples also we see that the form of the Lord which is there. It is the Radha Krishna, the Sita Ram, or Lakshmi Narayan form that are worshipped in the Lord. Because these are the forms of the Lord which are near and dear to each and every devotee. Now, some of them are more close to Radha Krishna, some of them are to Sitaram. That means when we say that Hanuman was more attached to the form of Ram. Does that mean that he does not care for the Krishna form? No, because his rasa or his devotion to Lord Ram was in a different platform. When we have Sudama and his loving service to Krishna was in a different platform. So these each and every person has a different rasa in which we can serve the Lord. And each and every person has a rupam of the Lord which they have that they can pray to. Only when we are doing this, we do not have to get trapped of being off into the Gyanis, Yogis, and the Karmi platform. Right? Because in the purport also it is said that the Gyanis, Yogis, and the Karmis are not particularly dear, because the Karmis simply want to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their order supplier. Karmis, what they do, you know what, I'm just going to do this service, I'm going to have some this donation to the Lord, I'm going to give so much of donation to this temple, and then they have that, I'm making my good karmas, and I'm going to get this, or Lord, I'm going to do this, please have my this things, or my these material desires being done. So he is doing whatever his understanding is. He is doing that as a devotional service. Maybe in the next life form, he will try to get into another life wherein he will go to a higher platform to serve the Lord in a better way. So the Gyanis are doing that. Gyanis want to see him to become one with him, and the Yogis want to see him partially represent within the heart as Paramatma. So which is the form that the Lord really, really loves? It is the Bhaktas. But the bhaktas or the devotees want to see him in his complete perfection. And this complete perfection, when we say, we also have the explanation in the Brahma Samhita. Because this is out of bhakti that it has been written when you say that our senses are purified. When you see the Lord and you start relishing his beauty, when you start relishing, like when I know when it is now when the summer starts, all of them are waiting to see that the Lord is only in his uparna and his dhoti, because they want to see the beauty of the Lord in the form, like many of them say that Radha Kalachanji, his belly button is one which is the most auspicious to look at, and they wait for the summer season when the Lord is going to be only in his the shela and the dhoti form. So each and every devotee has a particular way in which they are loving the Lord. Like in the Brahma Samhita, in the purport we have Venum Kvananta Aravinda Dalayakaksham Barhavatasamat Asati Asitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakotika Maniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So how is Lord Brahma explained or beautified the Lord? He says that the Lord who is playing flute, whenever we see Krishna, or whenever we think of Krishna, we as a devotee, we always have that, okay, the Lord is having his flute in his hand, and there is Radharani with him, or there are gopis along with him. So this form of the Lord is very dear to us. Some of them might have that when they think about Krishna, it is Bal Gopal that they think about, because they are in that rasa in which they are relishing the beauty of the Lord. So Lord Shiva wants to see the Lord in this form which the bhaktas or the devotees are relishing, because this form is seen, or this form can be meditated, or this form can be visualized only when we are into loving service of the Lord. And when we are trying to please the Lord, we are not trying to please our senses. I'm not going to the temple, oh, I'm going to do a service today and see how beautifully I have dressed the Lord. I am in no condition to beautify the Lord. The Lord already is beautiful, and I cannot do anything more to beautify him. Rather, he is giving me an opportunity to do a service that is the best part of my service for that day. So as when we see Lord Krishna also, we have never seen Lord Krishna as an old form, right? We've always seen Lord Krishna not more than 16 years of age. So that is the form of the Lord which is there in our eyes, or which is there in our mind. And that is the form which we are meditating. And this is the form which the pure bhaktas of the Lord are trying to meditate on. And that is the reason Lord Shiva is trying to meditate on this form. And he is saying that, please Lord, show me your this form. Now again, when Lord Shiva is saying, show me your this form, because Lord Shiva is the best devotee of the Lord, right? So in his song also, he knows that the Lord will appear only when he wants it to be seen. The what when we see about Lord Krishna is, we remember him, or we try to think him as the cowherd boy, as the boy who has a flute in his hand, the boy who is around with the Surabhi cows, the boy who is in Vrindavan, who is doing his leelas in Vrindavan along with the gopis and his companions and his the gopas and the gopis. So this form is a form which has no material desires associated with it. Any anything, any service or any meditation on the Lord, if it gets a tinge of the material desires, then it is not a pure thought, or that does not become a pure thought. And so Lord Shiva knows that to see the Lord in the pure form, I have to see what the bhaktas have seen. Like we have seen, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came as a devotee because he wanted to enjoy that rasa in which a devotee can. What is a devotee seeing in the Lord? That he is seeing he is trying to see the Lord with devotion. And what is that devotion? To feel that devotion, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. And that is the reason we also have to get into that mood in which we can purify our senses, and I don't know in which form, whose bhakti will be more, that the Lord will reveal himself to that devotee. We have so many devotees, right? Like one, I've heard that in one of the classes, where a person who was a devotee of Lord Narasimha, and when he was in the hospital, he could see that there was white effulgence everywhere, and he could see the form of a lion and the body of a lion and the body of a person and a lion-like face. So when you start meditating on the Lord, when you purify your senses by meditating on the Lord can show you his form. It is just upon the Lord's desire that if we have to see him, he will show him. Now the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on this verses is that, having described the Lord as all forms, by such recitation, he develops special bhakti. He describes his desired form and develops special desires. Show me the form, worship by the devotees as the highest form, that form which is dear to your associates and which is endowed with all qualities and senses. Since I am all forms, you can see me at all times. So this is the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and of Jiva Goswami. And the of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the commentary is like, show us the form worshipped by the devotees, the beautiful form most treasured by your devotees, endowed with all qualities and senses, for we desire to see it. Remembering in this way, now this is very important, remembering in this way, purifying the body, senses and mind, by offering respects, he has become qualified. That means being qualified to see the Lord or being qualified to do bhakti is so easy. Instead of going by the Jnana Margas, by the Karmi Margas, and by doing so many things and then reaching God, trying to reach, because at that point also you're not going to reach. You will just reach at a higher platform. And because of your good karmas, you will stay over there at that level for some time at the more heavenly planets, and again come back when your quota or when your good karmas are done, and you will again come back into this world for this life, birth and death cycles. And again you have to start with the bhakti process. Unless and until you reach to the bhakti process, you are not going to see the Lord in his form, or we are not going to relish the rasa of bhakti, because then we will be just doing as a regular service. It will not come from our heart unless and until we really want to serve the Lord in order to please him and not please our senses. Okay, so it should be beautiful, Rupam, most loved by the devotees. This excludes the universal form. It is attractive, being covered with senses, qualities, and forms. This excludes the Brahman, or the form has a beneficial guna, ointment, anjanam for all the senses, so that the senses give up the blindness of experiencing material enjoyment and are able to experience the Lord, taking on his vision. The Shruti says Chakshusha. Chakshu, the Lord is the eye of the eye. So again, everything comes down to like you have to purify ourselves, and in this Kali Yuga, by chanting and then meditating on the Lord is the best way that we can purify our senses. I hope I have completed everything. Hmm. Yeah, in the nectar of devotion again we have the quote over here is Anyabilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulena Krishnana Bhaktir Uttamam. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without a desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculations. We should not try to argue about any philosophical speculations and then try to get into that love of God. Those Gyani Margas are not meant for pure devotees. So at the end again to summarize is that Lord Shiva wants to see the Lord form of the Lord which is as low which is as pure for the devotee point of respect, because the Lord Shiva is the best devotee of the Lord. So I think I have uh, tried to give my 100% in whatever I have heard from the classes. If there are any more additions to it and comments to it, please add. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sita, Priti Mataji, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the very beautiful class, covering in detail every word of the purport, analyzing it and giving it to us in a very palatable form. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very, very grateful to you for this wonderful class about purifying our senses, seeing the form of the Lord, most beautiful form of the Lord, and so on. And very, very nice, Mataji, the way the class was done. Thank you so much for your valuable time and association. Hare Krishna. No questions, but the class was beautiful.
Thank you, Mataji, for the pointers and guiding me to find the right thing. I hope I've completed everything. Please add everybody if anything else has any more addition into it.
Hare Krishna, Sita Priti Mataji, very. Hare Krishna, Sita Priti Mataji, very beautiful class, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thanks for giving this opportunity.
Anybody has any question? Paramdevji Mataji, are you there? Can you speak?
Mataji?
Hare Krishna. No, wait. I'm asking to Paramdevji Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you, Mataji. If you want to, you have any question, you can ask Mataji, or you can give any comment.
Right. Because when I Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
When I introduced myself, I got no response, and it happens every day.
No, Mataji, what happens? You don't know how to mute yourself, so we have to mute. And before you say something, we already muted, and we never unmuted you because because I thought, who is this? And no, so whenever I unmute, you don't speak anything. So and lot of noise comes, so that's why. So sorry about that, Mataji. Now I texted you how to mute or unmute yourself. So thank you, Mataji. You can ask.
Thank you, Mataji. Next time I'll introduce myself. Today also I did, but I thought probably I am not audible.
Now we can hear you, Mataji. We will see to it next time. If that happens, that we'll see if it is you are unmute. We'll try
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll try to unmute you.
Thank you, because I listen to this class every day.
Very nice, Mataji. Very nice. Thank you so much for your association.
I'm speaking from Gurgaon.
Very good. Very nice. Thank you, Mataji,
Yes,
for joining.
India.
Yes, India
I have
time.
been a regular listener, but somehow every time I would ask a question, there was no response. So I thought probably I'm not audible to that side, although I could hear everything. Then I kept quiet. I never spoke.
Have
And
you
now that
downloaded the app? You are on the app, right, Mataji? You so that because sometimes if you
I am,
No, Mataji, she is on the Skype. So
okay, got it, Mataji.
star 6 to mute.
Got it, Mataji. Got it.
thank you. Thank you,
Mataji,
Mataji. Hare
you
Krishna.
want to add something?
I have no question for today.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sita, Priti, Mataji. This was indeed a very beautiful class. Heard you for the first time, but it was an amazing class. So thank you, Mataji, for that.
Thank you, Mataji. Lakshmi Mataji, for all your services.
Anybody has any more questions for Sita, Priti, Mataji at this point before we start with the Navadwip parikrama?
Yeah, Mataji, Hare Krishna, Sita Priti Mataji, such a beautiful class. Very simple to understand. For me, usually big philosophy, I couldn't understand Mataji. The class was so sweet. You covered each and every point of the puppet Mataji. And especially, I really liked the point that you were speaking about the senses. Artificially, if you try to control, we'll end up, doing again the same thing, But when we convert into the, to the Krishna consciousness, and who is a master of the senses is Rishikesha, if you can give the same senses serving to Rishikesha Krishna, then there is no chance again to get into that bad habits again. Yeah, Mataji, very beautifully you have explained each and everything, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. And like Mataji, I just try to add one thing. I forgot to go about this analogy. In this, like when we the example which is given in one of the classes was that we know like the Lord cannot be seen by our mundane eyes, and we cannot try to see the Lord. The Lord will only reveal Himself. So an example over here which was very nicely given is that the sun cannot be seen during the night when it is dark. So you cannot go with a torch and say that, oh, you know what, I'm going to show you the sun. I have the biggest torch with me, and I'll show you the sun. You cannot do that. You have to wait till the morning, till the sun rises up and shows himself. So it is same with God. You cannot go and say, you know what, I'm going to show you God. You cannot make that endeavor depending upon our senses, which are of no use. Unless and until the God wants to show us, it will not show. He will not show us. So that was one of the analogies which was given in one of the classes.
Nice, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, and please forgive me if I have not covered everything or if I have talked something which was not relevant. I beg for your forgiveness. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, such beautiful class, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna, Masira Priti Mataji, beautiful class, as Vinita Gandharvika Mataji said. Very simple explanation. Even for me, it was so difficult so far to understand whatever we discussed. But today was such a beautiful and clear, crisp picture how we should see the Lord. And I really like the point when you say we go to restaurant and we eat for our satisfaction, and we should, we can just cook the same thing at home and offer to Lord, and we eat, and that way we can save getting into the karma tangle. But at the same time, I just had a realization that way when we go ourselves and eat at restaurant, we are satisfying our senses, but our Krishna, our deities at home, they remain still hungry. So if you have a child at home, and as a mother, when we go out and especially for a mother, when she sees or gets to eat something special, she feels immediately, she'll think, oh, my child is at home and I'm enjoying it here. And you do not enjoy it as much you would have done it with your child. The same way, if we nicely progress in our bhakti life, we will feel the same for our deities. Oh, I'm eating this nice gulab jamun or whatever in the restaurant, but my deity at home, he is not enjoying this. So you will not enjoy it. It will not be as palatable as it would have been if it is prasad and it was enjoyed by our deity. So thank you for the beautiful class, Mataji. Thank you. Hari Bol, Mataji. Thank you.
Hari Bol, Mataji. Thank you, Anuradha Mataji, Anuradha Devas Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Sita Priti Mataji. Oh, please go ahead, Mataji.
No, Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Sita Priti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Very, very beautiful class, and especially very practical classes. And how you explained that while we are even having prasadam, at that time in the Bhakti Vriksha, we need to still continue and talk about all of the lessons that we learned during the week or what we heard during the week. That would be a very good way to silence our thoughts from going in any other direction. That was amazing, Mataji. Very wonderful tip that I should probably try implementing more. Another one that you had also mentioned is that when someone is trying to say something bad to us, we need to stop listening to it or start chanting our japa so that they would just walk away and they would know that we are definitely not interested in listening or pursuing the conversation. It's something that I keep falling into. I don't know how to tell someone to stop. So this was very helpful. Thank you so much, Mataji, for a wonderful, wonderful session. Thank you.
I'm working on it, Mataji. Trust me, I'm working on that myself.
Hare Krishna, Sita Priti Mataji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Lavanya Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sita Priti Mataji. Thank you so much for the class. It was very beautiful and, like others have said, very practical. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Tiffany Mataji.
So Sita Priti Mataji again. Sorry, Mataji, go ahead.
No. Please go ahead, Lakshmi.
Mataji, it's all right. I'm just trying to switch over the call. So, but please, yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Right.
All right. So, yeah, Sita Priti Mataji, thank you once again. Let me take this opportunity to thank you one more time. And then we're really grateful for today's class, which is very, very wonderful and really practical in all perspectives. So thank you so much for that, and we really look forward to having your association again in future. If nobody has any more questions, we would like to start with Navadwip Mandal parikrama, and with that, I would like to hand over the call to Mamta Mataji.
Okay, Mataji, thank you so much, Lakshmi Mataji. I'll be taking over for now because Mamta Mataji has an appointment. So we are continuing. Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. And thank you, first of all, Sita Priti Mataji, for a very fantastic class and making all the Vaishnavas very happy on the call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji, and please forgive for any shortcomings. Hare Krishna.
No. Thank you, Lakshmi Mataji. I'll take over for Navadwip parikrama. We are continuing from Surabhi Kunja. This is, I think, day 3 of Navadvip parikrama. So we are continuing from Surabhi Kunja. The place where Surabhi and Indra were performing Gaura Bhajan is known as Surabhi Kunj. Presently, there is a Gaudiya Math temple at Surabhi Kunj and the deities are worshipped in a small house. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also stayed at this place for a few years. This temple is located on the bank of the Jalangi river. If you go from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Swananda Sukhada Kunja towards the boat ghat, this temple will be on your right about 200 meters from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's place. This place is known different from Surabhivana in Vrindavan. It fulfills the desires of devotees, and one who builds a cottage and worships here will easily become absorbed in meditation on Gauranga Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Swananda Sukhada Kunja, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. This is the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. While living here, Srila Bhaktivinoda wrote the Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, which describes the glories of Navadvip Dham. He also discovered Lord Chaitanya's appearance place during this time. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Samadhi and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji's Bhajan Kutir are also here. Upstairs in the main house is the bedroom of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. There is a temple next to the original house where Gaur Gadadhar, the original deities worshipped by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, are located. Bhaktivinoda Thakur predicted that a great devotee would appear and spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Shortly thereafter, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada fulfilled his prediction. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also had a vision that one day there will be a great spiritual city in Navadwip Dham. At present, a city is being established in Sri Ram Mayapur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur named his house Swananda Sukhada Kunja. It is non-different from Swananda Sukhada Kunja, the private grove of Lalita Sakhi, located on the bank of Radha Kund in Vrindavan. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songs reveal how he is eternally living in this kunja serving the divine couple, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. My small cottage is shining beautifully within that most enchanting garden called Swananda Sukhada Kunj. Living there, I will sing Lord Krishna's holy name and greedily hanker for the time when I will be granted the opportunity to serve him and his associates. Gita Mala. On the banks of the celestial Ganga, I will dwell in a cottage at Surabhi. I will dwell. I will dwell. My small. I will. Okay. On the banks of the celestial Ganga, I will dwell in a cottage at Surabhi Kunj in Godrum Dham. This land of Godrum is very conducive for performing devotional worship of the Supreme Lord and is not different from the sacred place called Nandigram, located in the holy district of Mathura. This is in Sharanagati. It is said that at times the four Acharyas, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would meet here and discuss the pastimes of Sri Gaurahari. There is a small house in one corner of the temple courtyard where Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji used to stay when he came to visit Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In Navadvip Bhavataranga, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes as follows: Looking at the east from there, Sridhar Anga, I shall see Suvarna Vihar, the site of King Suvarnasena's incomparably majestic palace. We're going on to description of Suvarna Vihar. This is where the moon-like Lord Sri Gaurachandra dances along with his associates in an enchanting golden form. When will I wander throughout Suvarna Vihar, alone or in the company of devotees, weeping and sobbing piteously with a choked voice? At the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga, I will beg for a speck of service to the divine couple and then offer my very life to the shelter of Sri Radha's lotus feet. King Suvarnasena receives darshan of Lord Gauranga, as time described. Suvarna Vihar is located in Godrum Dweep on the southern side of river Saraswati. This river is at presently known as Jalangi. Lord Nityananda described this place to Sri Jiva as follows. During Satya Yuga, King Suvarnasen was ruling here. He had ruled his kingdom for a long time, and even though he had become very old, he was still very attached to his kingly duties. He was always engrossed in material life, and once, due to his good fortune, Narada Muni visited the place. The king was very happy to see Narada Muni and welcomed the sage by offering him nicely. He offered prostrated obeisances to Narada Muni, and when he took the king to a solitary place and mercifully explained to him Tattva Upadesh, instructions about Tattva, Narada Muni said, You are spending your days uselessly only meditating on how to increase your wealth. You should know very well that this material world is useless and the cause of all suffering. The real supreme wealth is transcendental knowledge. Please try to think about this for once seriously within your heart. None of your family members, like your wife and children and all the other relatives, are yours eternally. At the time of your death, no one will be yours. When you die, all your relatives will put your body into the river and it will float away and go back, and they will all go back to their respective homes. If no one is a real relative of anyone, then why run after the false hopes hankering for so much material achievement? If you say that at least you are achieving pleasure in your life and are free from suffering, that is your justification for trying to accumulate so much wealth, O dear king. That is false, because the body will be destroyed one. It will not exist for more than 100 years. Therefore, you should understand the essence of everything is beyond this illusory material world. In the spiritual, there is no trace of suffering to enjoy. In this material world, some enjoyment is there, but it always comes along with suffering. You should know how to cross the material knife. What kind of sadhana should one follow to achieve that wonderful result of going back to Godhead, where there is no sorrow or suffering? Not only by renunciation, not just by knowledge can one achieve that. By knowledge and renunciation, one may become free from material bondage and get liberation. But by that kind of liberation, one does not get real pleasure. In fact, the liberation is the greatest loss, but material pleasure is lost at the same time. Not much worthwhile is achieved. Therefore, the actually intelligent person will not accept bhukti or mukti, material sense gratification or liberation. Rather, they practice devotional service to Lord Sri Krishna. To be detached from the material things and attached to the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna as everything in one's life, Sambandha, Videya, and Prayojana. The Jiva is the eternal servant of Sri Krishna. Without bhakti, everything is destroyed. The tree of bhakti, Bhakti Vriksha, gives the fruit of prema. That fruit is Prayojana, or the final goal of life. That Sri Krishna Prema is our eternal wealth, in comparison to which bhakti and mukti are insignificant. Sri Krishna is Satchidananda. He is like the sun. The jivas are like rays of the sun, and Maya is the shadow. The jiva is the tatastha shakti of the Lord, and due to his marginal nature, when he comes in contact with Maya, she puts him in bondage. When the jiva becomes Krishna Bahirmukha, or he turns his face away from Krishna, he touches Maya. By coming in contact with Maya, the jiva falls into the bondage of karma, being caught by the net of Maya, and the jiva moves around in the material universes and undergoes lots of sufferings. Due to his attachment to karma, he does not get liberation, even if he tries his best to be free from suffering. Sometimes the jiva engages in karma, sometimes he engages in the Ashtanga Yoga process, and sometimes he discusses Brahma Jnana. Sometimes he engages in logic. In spite of all these, he ultimately remains in bondage due to his non-acceptance of the real wealth of knowledge about the science of the self. If the jiva, while traversing this material world, gets the association of a sadhu, then he will achieve shraddha or faith. In due course of time, by practicing devotional service to Krishna, in the association of devotees, his heart will become free from anarthas, unwanted desires, and he will achieve nishtha, steadiness. After continuing his bhajana at some time, due to that nishtha, he will develop ruchi or taste, and then later he will develop firm attachment or asakti to the Lord. From asakti, he will attain bhava, which will later bring him to the platform of prema. This is the gradual process of achieving pure devotion. By practicing the 9 kinds of devotional service in the association of devotees, one will achieve the wealth of Krishna Prema. Narada Muni continued, O king, you are very fortunate to have taken birth in Navadwip. By residing in this Navadvip Dham, you have achieved great fortune. Now you should try to develop Shraddha by the association of sadhus. Strive to achieve Prema by engaging in the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. When Kali Yuga comes, Sri Krishna, along with his associates, will manifest here for his Gauranga Leela. One who chants the holy name of Lord Sri Gauranga will get the mercy of Lord Sri Krishna and will become eligible to reside in Brajadam. One who worships Lord Sri Krishna without chanting the holy name of Lord Gauranga will get Sri Krishna, but after a long time. But one who chants the holy name of Gauranga will attain Sri Krishna immediately, because by chanting the holy name of Gauranga, he will become free from all offenses. While speaking to King Suvarnasen in this way, Narada Muni became very impatient. Due to great ecstasy, he could not control himself anymore and started dancing, chanting the holy name of Lord Sri Gauranga. He was playing his veena, chanting the name of Lord Gaurahari, and he was asking, when will that most blessed Kali Yuga come? While speaking these words, Narada Muni left. Just then, at that moment, King Suvarnasen developed Krishna Prema and started to dance, chanting the name of Lord Sri Gaurahari. He was asking for Krishna Prema from all the Vaishnavas, and thus he became free from all desires. Once, when the king was sleeping, he dreamed that Gaura Gadadhar, along with all their associates, were dancing in his courtyard. All of them were chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and embracing the golden form of Lord Gaurahari. When the king woke up, he became very worried and started to cry for Gauranga. Suddenly he heard a voice, "O king, you will appear here again during the manifested pastimes of Lord Sri Gauranga. You will be one of the great associates of the Lord. Your name will be Buddhimanta Khan. During that time, you will serve the lotus feet of the Lord." After hearing this Daiva Vani, heavenly voice, the king became pacified and started to worship Lord Sri Gauranga. When Lord Nityananda was describing the subject to Srivas Thakur, who was an incarnation of Narada Muni, Srivas in the mood of Narada Muni fainted. Everyone very ecstatically started to chant the nectarian holy name of Sri Gauranga, and Sri Jiva was rolling on the ground. All of them were anticipating and praying for the darshan of the golden form of Sri Gauranga. Immediately, to their surprise, the most beautiful form of Gauranga appeared there, right in front of them, and he started to dance. Nityananda, along with Sri Advaita Acharya, began chanting the glories of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and there was a big Sankirtan with many mridangas. Thus, the previous Sankirtan pastimes were manifested, and all of them remained there in great jubilation until the second Prahara, midnight. Navadwip Da Mahatmya Parikrama Kanda. Srila Narahari Chakravarti Thakur in his book Bhakti Ratnakar has explained the pastimes at Suvarna Vihar as follows. Once Ishan Thakur took Sri Srinivas on Parikrama and described how this place came to be known as Suvarna Vihar. In this country, there was a most fortunate king who was a great devotee of Lord Sri Krishna. Narada Muni has many disciples and grand disciples, one of whom came to the king's palace on one day. The king received him with great respect and offered him prostrated obeisances. The king then asked him about the advent of the Lord. With very pleasing and sweet words, he, the disciple of Narada Muni, explained to the king, "The Lord will descend in Kali Yuga, accepting a golden color and exhibit wonderful pastimes. He will be engaged in the Sankirtan, which is rarely witnessed by the demigods, including Lord Sri Brahma. The Lord will be mad with Nama Sankirtan and will make the whole world mad. Just as the Lord danced in Maharas in Vrindavan, the same way he will dance and give pleasure to all the devotees. All of Navadvip will be filled with happiness. No one can understand the glories of Navadvip Dham unless the associates of the Lord explain them to him." After speaking in this way to the king, the great Vaishnava blessed him and left. Hearing his words, the king thought to himself, "Shame on my life, shame on my birth as a human being. I always engaged in kingly activities. This is my bad fortune that I never had the association of devotees. Without the association of devotees, no one achieves perfection in anything. After such a long period, this most merciful sadhu has now blessed me. Now I know this Nadia is the abode of the Lord." Considering this, he felt ecstasy in his heart and started to shed tears, looking towards Navadvip while offering prostrated obeisances to the holy Dham. He prayed to Navadvip Dham to bless him so that he could take birth at this time when the Lord would manifest his pastimes. Just then a voice said, "You will take birth here in Nadia when the Lord descends and manifests his pastimes." Although the king was happy to hear this, he was still impatient. Bhaktavatsal Bhagavan Vishwambar, under the pretext of a dream, revealed to the king his wonderful pastimes. The king saw thousands of devotees playing different varieties of musical instruments and singing in a very sweet way. which attracted the whole world. Among those devotees, he saw the moon of Nadia, Sri Gaurachandra, in his most beautiful blue form of Sri Krishna appearing like a stream of nectar. The king saw the form of Sri Krishna Chandra, and immediately that blue transformed into gold. The king started to think, who is this golden form, Suvarna Vigraha, moving Vihara in the crowd of Sankirtan? While the king was thinking like this, his dream ended. He became pacified and glorified by his own good fortune. Because he meditated on the Lord in his golden form, Suvarna Vigraha, who was moving Vihara, there, this place is named as Suvarna Vihara. At this very place, Lord Gauranga was present in his manifested pastime. He performed some kirtan here, and many people relished seeing his dancing. With great ecstasy, people would speak to each other. We have never seen such a beautiful complexion. There is no comparison to it. His moving and dancing is so wonderful that it attracts the people of the three worlds. The mind of one who takes darshan of Suvarna Vihar will drown in the pastimes of Lord Sri Gauranga. Amaraghat, Amighat. Amarghat is where Lord Chaitanya performed the miracle of planting a mango, Amar seed, which immediately grew into a tree full of ripened mangoes. The devotees immediately picked around 200 mangoes and then offered them to Lord Krishna. Daily after Kirtan with the Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda and Nityananda Prabhu, the devotees would hold a mango eating festival. The tree would give mangoes all year without interruption, and the fruits were all red and yellow and had neither seeds inside nor skin outside. By eating only one of these mangoes, the devotees were satisfied. Every day for 1 year, Lord Chaitanya and the devotees would enjoy eating mangoes at this place. At the end of the year, the mango tree disappeared. Harihara Kshetra and Mahavaranasi. Kshetram Hariharam Tirtiva Karshim cha Moksha Dayinim. Lord Sri Hari Cross Sri Harihara Kshetra and Kashi Kshetra, which gives liberation. Navadwip Mahatmya Pramana Kanda 439. Harihara Kshetra is situated in Godruma Dweep in the eastern bank of the Alakananda river. At present, this river is not flowing, but a portion of the river is still visible. In the temple of Harihara Kshetra, there is a deity who is half Lord Shiva and half Lord Vishnu. The western side of the Alakananda is considered non-different from Kashi, Varanasi. In fact, this place is greater than Kashi and it is known as Mahavaranasi. There, Lord Shiva is dancing, chanting the holy name of Gaura, Gaura. He offers his associates devotion unto Lord Gauranga. Sannyasis get liberation after cultivating jnana for thousands of years in Kashi. The devotees here at Mahavaranasi reject that offer of liberation and dance in ecstasy, chanting the holy name of Lord Gauranga. Lord Shiva delivers anyone who dies here by chanting the name of Lord Gauranga and is here at the time of death. Living entities have no fear at this Mahavaranasi Dham. Explaining the glories of this place, Lord Nityananda started to dance in ecstasy, offering Gaura Prema to all the living entities. At that time, Kailashapati, Lord Shiva, invisibly came there and offered his obeisances to Lord Nityananda, bowing his head in front of him. Here, Lord Shiva, his consort Gauri, chant the holy name of Gauranga to fill their desires. So we are stopping here and we'll continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. Very beautiful reading, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So we can then end the call. And thank you so much, Sita.
Yeah, thank you so much, Priti Lasni Mataji and Sita Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Priti Mataji. Wonderful reading. So with that, we will end the class here. Thank you very much, Sita Priti Mataji and Priti Lasni Mataji. We'll meet again tomorrow. Vancha kaltarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo namo namaha. Guratra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada. Her Grace Priti Mataji and Priti Lasni Mataji ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
This session is no longer being recorded.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji's.
Goodbye.